What's this about you losing your Kevlar?
It bounced off my head, Sergeant Major, last night.
Bounced off your head.
I was up on the 50 cal and the Humvee went over a berm, Sergeant Major.
That Kevlar wasn't yours to lose! That was the property of this United States Marine Corps! Belonged to every Marine! Come on, help you to secure that hammock! You jeopardized every Marine serving today! I was considering NJP in your office. Sergeant Culver! This is what happens when you don't enforce grimmer standards. The men's gets all lights, and another standard's fall. Double here stops to use chin strap, goes over a bump, Kevlar goes flying off his head, and our protective posture is weakened.
October surprise, negligently discharged on 3 September for the win.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, live from Pittsburgh Studio #1, it's Cold War Radio. Here's your host, Hutch Bailey Jr.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Here we go. Say a little prayer for the internet. We're going to keep it going as long as we can. Seems like it's going all right now, but we will see. Welcome and thank you for choosing Cold War Radio, the Cold War Radio patron hotline, 412-206-6208. We'll see how that works. Voicemail 412-567-1460. Please go to steelcityresistance.com. Become a Cold War Radio patron. You can catch the research room, the video 2 page, or if you'd like to write to the program, please write to Cold War Radio, P.O. Box 10433 370, Castle Shannon Boulevard, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania 15234. And from one Commonwealth to another, let's go to the Commonwealth of Virginia and welcome Jack to the show. Hello, Jack.
Good evening, Hutch. Good evening to everyone tuned in on Spreaker, and a big high five to all the crew in the VFW, the Spreaker chat room. It's good to be here.
It is. Me too. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening for the first time, make sure you open that chat. If you're listening in Spreaker, where you should be. I think it's the only place you can listen to it live, actually. But make sure you get in that chat, get in the VFW. If you have any questions, contact Rocky. He'll put you in the right direction, and we'll go from there. What's going on with you this week, Jack? Anything new?
Just doing a lot of honey-do lists, putting up shelves. We had a retailer that was basically going out of business, and they were selling off all of their merchandising, racks and shelves and goodies like that, real reasonable. So I was able to put some more shelving in the garage and in our spare building out back, just making space for more junk.
Oh, I know. You can never have enough of that.
No. You're going to see me on one of those hoarding shows here probably about 15 years, and I won't really care at that point, The
only thing is when you get to a certain point, you just actually lived this. If you're going to relocate, then it's like, what in the hell do I do with all this stuff,
I left a lot of it there. I'm just resupplying down here now that we came someplace else.
I'll tell you, it was refreshing today. I read a lot about Pennsylvania history and the rebellious nature of people here. And coming from Pittsburgh, a completely 100% compliant sheep city, coming out to my fallback position and walking in the same state, walking into a pizza shop, and everybody was defying the fascist governor. There was not one mask in that place on either side of the counter. I was so happy. I didn't know what to do, so I just poked my head in first, and I saw all the employees that didn't have them on, and I'm like, man, these people get it up here.
It's America going on in here. It's America.
I mean, you look day after day, and it's just totally. And we're going to get into that as we get into the show here. It's becoming clear what's going on. But I'll tell you, I was thinking when I get up here, especially when I'm by myself, that's going to end within this hour. But I had a day or two up here by myself, and I just thought, I've been following politics for a long time. Following politics. That's another thing Pittsburghers do. They take syllables out of words. But we're in a rough spot in our history right now. We've got two sides that are, one is for the country and one is against the country. Think about that. You've got corporate America, corporate media, the establishment Republican Party, and the Democrat Party against us. Against the working men and women of the United States. This is going to be a tough fight, Jack. I mean, I'm not giving up. Don't get me wrong. I'm not giving up, but it's about ready to get real. We have a local, used to be a local news anchor, one of the best in the city, one of the most loved in the city, and she got canceled out for telling a story of a black busboy in contrast to a massive shooting that had just happened in one of our neighborhoods and how this kid was doing it right. They fired her for that. And then she went on the radio.
Step on the bad news with
right.
some hopeful story, or
so she has like 6 kids. And then she went and started a career in radio, talk radio, and became a conservative talk radio host. And my wife texted me today, they fired her from that too, for her comments didn't live up to the corporate standards of KDKA radio. First radio station in the country, by the way. Unbelievable. And it's happening all around us.
Yeah, you see it right. You're just talking terrestrial with the local television station and the terrestrial radio station, and now you look at the efforts online, which is, I think, the majority of the news or what gets spread around to the people in the country is done via your smartphone, internet, whatever, via your Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and all those social media things. We've always said that until this COVID deal, most folks that were working or raising a family, doing all these things, don't have the time to sit down and invest in who's telling me the truth, what's the real details behind these stories that I'm hearing from the news, or my little 15 minutes of checking in. They don't have the time, or they're so busy. We're in America. If they're pursuing the American dream, then they shouldn't have to sit there and worry about what their media is doing. But as soon as you get like that, you get swallowed up. Like you said, look at who's all against the Americans right now: the media, the people in the corporations.
Big tech. Now you have to add big tech to it. And I mean, I read a couple stunners. One, the Democrats realize they're not going to win the election, so they're going for the steal. And the second one is the cancel culture is only the beginning of big tech tyranny. And you look at these kids. When I say kids, I'm talking like 40 and younger. No offense. But they're addicted to their phones, and they're addicted to the internet. They don't even, some of them are very lazy, especially the young. When you can talk to any young kid and tell right away if they're brainwashed or not, because they don't even use different words. They all use the same exact verbiage. It's like a Rush Limbaugh montage.
And how many of them use text language? That's how they speak.
Yeah.
That's how they write. That's how they communicate. It's like a foreign language. I feel like I don't know what language is spoken in this country anymore.
And if you try to talk to them, if they don't want to talk to you, they just won't answer you.
Right.
It's unbelievable, but it's
well, you had it with what? Safe spaces. So don't be challenged. If you feel uncomfortable, then here you go. In universities, there's a safe space for you to go.
The VA called me today. I have a procedure coming up, and they called me today, and the nurse was like, "I have to ask you this question. Has anybody hurt you or physically harmed you?" I was like, "Lady, get to the next question. Don't ask me things like
serious?
that. I swear to God."
Are you a victim?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And then she asked me if I had sleep apnea or not. I said, "Yeah, severe." "Well, do you have a mask, a CPAP?" I said, "No, I went to my appointment last week, and they put me in a room by myself like a Chinese peasant with this mask on my face for an hour. I looked at my watch, and when it hit 1 hour, I left." I said, "I'm not doing that for you or anybody." It's ridiculous. You ought to see the PPE they wear, man. My God. I mean, it's out of control. It really is.
The best that the government can supply.
It, man. I'm talking about fully encapsulated suits with positive pressure air sources going to it's unreal. It's unbelievable.
The stuff that we saw, on decon outfits for NBC training.
Exactly. Now, on the good side, I don't know. I hope you got a chance to catch that rally at the Latrobe Airport.
The one at Latrobe? Oh, it's awesome.
Man, it was good. He's on his game, man. I mean, He had the people fired, had me fired. I think it lasted 2 hours. I had to watch it after the fact. But yeah, that was a good one. He's right. There's a lot of good people out there. A lot of good people out there.
Yeah, and they showed. I mean, this is the part where they try. I've seen those Twitter. It must have been because that's where I see him do his tweets. Or a couple of times, I guess he was coming back after Andrew Cuomo when he basically told the president he better bring an army if he wants to come back to New York.
Can you believe he said that? Can you believe he said that?
Well, he's a wannabe Joe Pesci,
Yeah, he is. You're right.
Or De Niro or whoever.
But the thing is after all the president did for that guy, for his state, right now, this is a fact. This is a proven fact. New York and California are dragging the United States of America down. If it wasn't for those two states, this would be a completely different country because of their size. California is the largest economy in the country, and New York, I think, is the 10th or the 4th or something. I don't know what it is. And then you add Michigan and Pennsylvania, and it's just a total anchor. It's unreal. And
especially you look at what Pelosi's holding out for. She wants $2.some trillion, but she wants this to be sent to California and New York to subsidize.
Screw you. I'll tell you, it almost feels, and they're projecting because they're starting to say it. They're using race war, but race has nothing to do with this. It's like they're trying to start a civil war, like they're going to do okay if that happens. It's unbelievable. It just the evil.
Well, that's how close we are. You think everything's looking grim. The enemies of America are that desperate that they're pulling out all the stops right now.
They are.
You have all the establishment Republicans. They're just standing out on board and saying we're backing Biden. They don't care.
Not
because as far as their mind is, if we can get President Trump in and then take the House back from the uniparty and get at least a majority in the House and the Senate and have Trump for 4 more years, you're going to see complete transformation of what those assholes built over the past 50 years,
on the blood of soldiers.
Yes.
A lot of them. And you and I have both seen it up close. It's obscene, the spending that nobody asks for. When things just show. Remember those charms during your era, those little candies? Man, there must have been 10 million of those things everywhere.
And the MREs.
But there was separate bags of them by themselves too. It was nuts.
Yeah.
All right, we have to get into this. We have to get into this subject here. Oh, we got a call already. Ken, go ahead. Ken,
hey,
good evening. Hello, Ken.
Yeah, you guys were talking about this whole car thing, and I mean, if you look at the statistics, right? This guy's killed more people by throwing, these positive cases into, nursing homes.
No, you're right, and
if you look at if you know how to do math, not this newfangled math that they're trying to put out, okay, half of the deaths that have happened in the United States happened in nursing homes, which this guy forced these people to go into, that he knew they were, positive for this Wuhan Red Death virus. And, but hey, it's not my fault.
Cuomo did that. I mean, there was stories coming out of New York with photographs of like rental trucks backed up that were not unloaded. And also articles, I remember them when they were bringing patients to the nursing homes, they were bringing the body bags with them.
Yep.
So
But
whoever was
but they
doing
wanna-
this, they knew what was going to happen.
But they want to blame this on the president, who provided them with a naval hospital ship, which could have been utilized elsewhere around the planet. And they also turned a hotel. Oh, I believe it was the same hotel that, this glass ceiling was,
Javits Center, right? That one.
Yeah, they turned that into a care center for these same people, and nobody utilized anything.
And you also had the Samaritan's Purse that opened up field hospital out in, I think it was Central Park or one of the parks there, just to help with the supposed overflow. And there was no overflow. The same place that was crying for ventilators, it found out they had something like 1,000 of them or something like that. The whole thing was crazy. The Mercy ship that was there, it was blasted all over the news. This is for people that do not have COVID. That way they have a place to go in case of emergency. What happens the first day it's open? Somehow New York sends 19 COVID-19 patients to the ship and contaminates it, which means there goes any place for those who weren't.
Just imagine if we had a Justice Department in the United States, what would happen? That's the crying shame of it. Now you got the FBI looking into it, but I have a piece on that later down in the show I'll get to. But what else is on your mind, Ken?
I mean, hey, what is isn't Labor Day some sort of county holiday?
It's a weekend of barbecuing, celebration, and
Labor Union Day.
Welcome to the working man. Hey, I got a couple of racks of ribs. And I'm gonna be grilling. I'm gonna be, and Hoodlin had they had a sale on ribeye steaks. So
nice.
Picked up a couple of those, and I'm gonna be firing up the grill this weekend. So,
all right, man. Happy Labor Day.
Have a great 3-day weekend of government employee.
All right.
Enjoy the weekend.
Yep, thanks for calling. Appreciate it.
Yep.
All right.
So we have to get into this. I don't really want to, but I have to, man. I mean, Mona texted me with this yesterday, the Atlantic story. Goldberg defends Trump piece extensively sourced and entirely accurate. This is by Pam Key, the editor-in-chief of the Atlantic magazine, and this is my emphasis, huge Obama supporter. Jeffrey Goldberg defended his article claiming the president said that Americans who died in war were losers and suckers Friday on MSNBC's Andrea Mitchell Reports. President Donald Trump denied the story, saying it's a fake story, it's a disgrace, they're allowed to do it. Goldberg said it is not fake, it is real. This story is extensively sourced and entirely accurate. That's all I can say. This is not the first time, of course, certainly not the first time today, that the president has cast aspersions on journalism that doesn't reflect well on him. So his reaction is completely predictable. He added, "You're right, it's very vigorous, and I think that these vigorous denials are motivated by a realization." I can't even read any more of this. You know what, Jack? You know what I say to anybody that reads this and takes any credence in it at all? You watch what the president does. Don't worry about what people say he said, and don't even worry about what he said. Watch what he does.
Yeah,
this phony article about active duty troops going for Biden, they're not as stupid as John Kerry thinks they are. If you remember that.
Yeah, we were talking right before the show, and I was like, what happened this week? I said the left was trying to keep this one under wraps until maybe like the last 2 weeks of the election, to slam him at the last second to perhaps steal a victory for Sleeping Joe. But there was a few negative to the Democrats' operation stories that surfaced, which were true. You know,
Yeah,
you
the
had
speaker of
one
Antifa.
of their
The speaker of
Right.
Antifa went to get her hair did.
Yeah,
Marie
and
Marie
one
Antoinette.
of the Antifas shot the Patriot Prayer guy down, and
He's assumed room temperature, by the way.
right, yeah, but he was. I saw a little clip. I guess he did something on Vice News. He said, "I just, I thought our lives were at risk, so I had no other option." I'm like, okay, so then when the police are there to apprehend him, he doesn't feel that strongly about the self-defense mode, so he decides he's going to fire on the police. Yeah, give me a break.
I'll tell you, the reporting on that was bad too. I'm going to wait a couple days. I'm going to wait. I'm not even going to say what I was going to say. But he's gone, and that's good. And there's another story snatched.
Oh,
Bolton.
my bad.
No, it ain't. Sorry.
That was a teaser.
I'd have stopped you if I cared. Bolton has emerged as an adversary of the president since leaving the administration, but he wrote in his book about Trump and said that if that would have happened, he would have dedicated a whole chapter to it. But then he left himself an out. He said, I'm not saying he didn't say them later in the day or another time, which I guess was an accurate thing to say. I mean, so.
Yeah, well, you look at his bittered book where a lot of quite a few things that he claims happened were completely denied by people that were there in the room. So
I want you
John
to
Bolton can kiss my ass.
Right.
I don't care what he has to say.
I agree. You know, the sad part about that is I used to really like that guy. I used to really like a lot of guys I can't stand now. I've been hella educated the last 3 years.
Just shows you how embedded these people are. You think you've got somebody in there that's sort of bucking against the trend or against the swamp. No, you just one other tentacle that, can maybe challenge another tentacle just to keep everyone off guard and make you think that they're not all in lockstep in the direction they want us to go, right?
If you don't think this was a coordinated effort, wow, Joe Biden had a press conference, and guess who the first question went to? The Atlantic.
Holy moly.
This morning in reference to that article in The Atlantic and a call convened by your campaign, Wazir Khan said that...
One thing that I've noticed lately, the Democrats don't know how to do audio, man. You're listening to a little bit of an echo. It's gonna go away. But I want you to listen to this bumbling reporter.
The comments demonstrated that President Trump's life is a testament to selfishness, and that his soul is that of a coward. You've talked about this as a different view of how you see the job as president. But when you hear these remarks, suckers, losers, recoiling from amputees, what does it tell you about President Trump's soul and the life he leads?
I'm going to try to be measured in my response. If it's true, and based on other things he said, I believe the article is true, I'd ask you all the rhetorical question. How do you feel? How would you feel if you had a kid in Afghanistan right now? How would you feel if you lost a son, daughter, husband, wife? How would you feel, for real? I know that's not your job to express that feeling, but you know. You know in your heart, you know in your gut. It's deplorable. It's deplorable.
Deplorables.
As I've said many times, I'll say again, these folks are the backbone of America. They're the heart, the soul, the grit. That's what patriotism is about.
What?
I've just never been as disappointed in my whole career with a leader that I've worked with, president or otherwise, that if the article is true, and it appears to be based on other things he said, it is absolutely damnable.
So,
Was it
Jack,
over?
What
The Germans bombed Pearl Harbor. Forget it.
what
You
are
don't
we?
roll.
Are we the backbound of America, or are we deployables?
I think he was like Tommy Two Times from Goodfellas, right?
Oh,
Bring
my
me
goodness.
the deplorable.
This guy, man, he is not good, and that reporter wasn't good. Could you imagine?
No.
Now, I have to give Brett Baer credit, because tonight he called his whole panel out and said, no, wait a minute, man, look at these questions. Asking about his soul. I thought the Democrats didn't believe in God. What are they worried about his soul for? You know, this whole thing is it's just
They're very prayerful. We
Yeah.
remember place.
I have one. If I had to boil it down to one word, it would be the word. Come on, man. Come on, man. All right, so good,
he's they send him out here, and they're trying. I mean, they didn't want the President Trump to go to Kenosha, Wisconsin. Why? Because they didn't want to bring Biden out of the basement, because they sent him there, to follow. So I guess where Trump was last name, Pennsylvania, maybe Biden's going to head there.
Oh, I guarantee. I'm surprised he's not here already. I mean, he's always here on Labor Day and St. Patty's Day. Yeah, it's crazy, man. I mean, I have to give the president a time to rebut.
Just arriving back from Pennsylvania and responding to an explosive report in the Atlantic claiming the president disparaged Marine Corps war heroes from the Battle of Belleau Wood during World War I. The story claims that the president didn't join his then Chief of Staff, John Kelly, on the trip because those World War I men were losers and suckers. That's a quote from the piece. The president responding a short time ago, and it was impromptu, so the lights were down.
General Keith Kellogg, who's a highly respected man, couldn't believe when he heard it. And he knows everything about all of it. And to think that I would make statements negative to our military and our fallen heroes when nobody's done what I've done with the budgets, with the military budgets, with getting pay raises for our military. It is a disgraceful situation by a magazine that's a terrible magazine. I don't read it, but I just heard about it. They made it up, and probably it's a couple of people that have been failures in the administration that I got rid of, and I couldn't get rid of them fast enough. But or it was just made up. But it's unthinkable. As far as John McCain is concerned, I was never a fan, and I will admit that openly. I disagreed with him on the endless wars. I disagreed with him with respect to the vets and the taking care of the VA. I wanted to do it a much different way, and I think it's proven to be a much more successful way when you look at the success we've had with the VA and with our vets, with choice and with accountability, all the things I've got. So I disagreed with John McCain, but I still respected him. And I had to approve his funeral as president. We lowered the flags. I had to approve that. Nobody else. I had to approve it. When you think, and I'm just thinking back, I had to approve either Air Force One or a military plane to go to Arizona to pick up his casket. And I approved it immediately. I had to approve the funeral because he had a first-class AAA funeral that lasted for 9 days, by the way. I had to approve it. All of that had to be approved by the president. I approved it without hesitation, without complaint. And I felt he deserved it. I disagreed with him on things, and he was a tough guy, but I felt he deserved it. For somebody to say the things that they say I said is a total lie. It's fake news. It's a disgrace. And frankly, it's a disgrace to your profession. Now, with all of that being said, you'll speak to Keith Kellogg, you'll speak to other people, because many people knew. Let me just go into the, if I might, into the trip to Europe and to France. I was ready to go to a ceremony. I had two of them, one the following day. It was pouring, and I went to that. But the helicopter could not fly. The reason it couldn't fly, because it was raining about as hard as I've ever seen. And on top of that, it was very, very foggy. And the helicopter was unable to fly. It was a fairly long helicopter flight, but it was a very long drive. In order for me to go, we would have had to leave immediately and go through very busy areas of, I guess, Paris, but a very, very heavily traveled area, a big city. I think it was Paris. And the Secret Service told me, you can't do it. I said, I have to do it. I want to be there. They said, you can't do it. We'll get you confirmation of this. They said, for you to do that, make that trip, not by helicopter flying over everything. We have to work with the police. We have to work with everything. And I think you'll find on record in the police force, in the areas that we're talking about, areas of Paris that we're talking about, I think you'll find on record requests. And we actually have Secret Service that I'm going to ask to give you details. They said you can't do it. It was 2.5 hours or 2 hours of driving. It was a long drive. They said you can't do it. So I said, no, I want to do it. They said you can't. There was no way I would have been able to do it. And they would never have been able to get the police and everybody else in line to have a president go through a very crowded, very congested area. So I went and I called home. I spoke to my wife. I said, I hate this. I came here to go to that ceremony and to the one that was the following day, which I did go to. I said, I feel terribly. And that was the end of it. Now, all of a sudden, somebody makes up this horrible story that I didn't want to go. And then they make up an even worse story, calling certain names to our fallen heroes. It's a disgrace that a magazine is able to write it. And anybody that, if they really exist, if people really exist that would have said that, they're lowlifes and they're liars. And I would be willing to swear on anything that I never said that about our fallen heroes. There is nobody that respects them more. So I just think it's a horrible, horrible thing. We made a great evening into, frankly, a very sad evening when I see a statement like that. No animal, nobody, what animal would say such a thing? And especially since I've done more, I think, than almost anybody to help our military.
A significant pushback from President Trump. We apologize for the lighting. Those impromptu remarks taking place at Joint Base Andrews as Democrats are jumping on those comments.
Can you imagine Joe Biden putting that many words together impromptu like that? I can't. He can't do it. Yeah. I mean, and the guy got on, he's on fire, man. He was on a press conference after that, but earlier tonight. It even went into the news hour.
Yeah, he ran that one.
What the heck? What was I? He's calling these media out more and more. He's really hammering them, and a lot of people, you know, I wonder. I think of things, you know, sometimes when I'm talking with you guys on the show, I'm trying to keep the show going, so I'm trying to keep my mind moving so I can do what I got to do timing wise and whatever. And a lot of times I'll get lost on the depth of what one of you guys says, and I won't realize it until later on. On Wednesday...
Well, that never happens with me, but carry on.
It does. Stacy said some things on Wednesday, and I don't even think it was... I think it was 2 different episodes. But one of the things she said, if we lose this election, they got away with the coup. All those people are going to be back in their jobs, you know, or at the very least not touched legally.
That's why you saw certain people popping up. You saw Obama's chief of staff, Valerie Jarrett.
Yeah, exactly.
All of a sudden is on the TV again. They were
Susan
pushing
Rice.
Susan Rice's name. She's back in this. Hillary Clinton, the crypt keeper herself, is out there on the news. So, like we said, it's all hands on deck. They know that if they win, if they can push Biden over the line and then regain the executive branch, then they can sit there and whitewash everything, every criminal or crime they've done,
and continue to do more. I mean, do you think this show will stay on the air? You know, do you think we'll be able to continue to march? I doubt that.
I don't know how. Yeah, I don't know how soon they would think they would be able to clamp down on us. But
they'll try.
You know.
They'll try one way or another. You know, they'll get the platforms. Facebook is already getting crazy. I tried to post a post that was positive about the guy down in Kenosha, the guy that's in jail right now, Rittenhouse. And
Right.
they came right back, if you post this, we will ban you forever from Facebook.
Yeah, there was another guy that I've seen on YouTube, Anthony Brian Logan. I mean, he was complaining. He posted just a video of an interview of Rittenhouse prior to that evening when he was questioned.
That was what
why
I
he has a
posted.
weapon.
That's what I tried to post.
He said, "I'm here to help people if somebody gets hurt, whatever. But I'm here to, protect so-and-so's property. I'm not here to be violent, whatever." It was completely mild, and it showed that he was just caring about somebody's property, and he was also ready to help others in need should they get hurt. So it's a contrast to what the media is trying to say about him. They don't even want you to see that video where he's running for his life, and as soon as he trips and gets on the ground, they're getting ready to punish this guy, and that's when he fired, a couple of shots. So,
And the other thing that she said was, I heard Biden say tonight, well, at least I heard it tonight. I don't know if he said it tonight, but that he's starting to take COVID tests. And I'm thinking, the other thing Stacey said is, how many more days before he gets COVID and can't do the debates?
He's saying remember the last time someone asked, no, that was a cognitive test. And he said, he challenged the guy, what are you, on drugs? You on cocaine, man? Come on, man.
I know.
Come on.
It's unbelievable. It really is. I can't believe he used the word deplorables again.
Twice.
Yeah.
He doubled down on the deplorable. And, here he is. Well, we all know that his entire campaign is full of bull excrement because we've seen his career. We've known all of his misdeeds. He's always been a gaffer, but now he's a gaffer with a mind that's solely leaving his body. Who it's almost sad if they weren't.
He's in danger, man. He is in dire danger. This guy, they are going to eliminate Joe Biden. Mark my words.
Then what? Who's going to be the nominee?
I mean, it might be after it might be after the election,
right?
But anyway, I don't know. But that's just a couple things. Now, something that's got to be bothering Biden, because this is the first time this ever happened. The Fraternal Order of Police on Friday endorsed President Donald Trump for re-election in 2020. The endorsement was made through the canvassing more than 355,000 members throughout the country, according to a release from the union. That's really good news, man. That is super good news.
Yeah, the first time I heard that was in the little presser that Trump did, and somebody asked him, how does he feel that the Delaware Fraternal Order of Police backed him? He's trying to
they're
get
a bunch
him
of racists. They're just racist.
No,
Ladies and gentlemen,
Biden's home state.
Your weekly jihad report. 43 jihad attacks, 247 killed, 201 injured, 4 suicide blasts, all occurring in 10 countries. The religion of peace atrocity of the week. Boko Haram insurgents killed more than 70 members of a community overnight in northeastern Nigeria, local media reported Wednesday. Ali Nudemi, a senator and chairman of the Senate Committee on the Army, said at a program he was attending in Maiduguri that members of the terrorist group killed 75 elderly people in the town of Gwoza in Borno State. Other recent misunderstandings of Islam. On the 2nd in Australia, 3 officers are slashed with a knife by a migrant shouting praises to Allah. How do 3 officers get stabbed by one dude with a knife? On the 2nd in Afghanistan, 6 children are blown up by a bomb being built by their religious father. On the first in Afghanistan, a policewoman is assassinated by religious hardliners. Why would you have a policewoman in Afghanistan anyway? On the 1st in Cameroon, a suicide bomber blows himself up in a camp for displaced persons, killing 7. The day before that in Cameroon, Islamists raid a camp for displaced persons, killing 4. And finally, on the 31st of August in Afghanistan, 3 children, ages 10, 13, and 15, are abducted and murdered by the Taliban. The religion of peace, ladies and gentlemen, one body at a time.
Allahu Akbar, Allah.
Well, Jack, I can say one thing. Ever since 2010, there has never been a deathless week in the weekly jihad. Believe it or not, that's a fact.
It does seems to be lightening up ever so slightly, though, since President Trump and his new Middle East foreign policy of let's ease up on all this and let's start bringing our folks home and let's let the Middle East handle the Middle East.
Yeah, it's easing up here, but over there, I mean, they've been doing this since 700 A.D. It's not something new. Let's go to Eugene, Oregon. Hello, Marlene.
Hello, Hutch. Hello, Jack.
Hello, Marlene.
Hey there. Speaking of the Democrats in their, excuse me, little monkey business, there was a article in the American Thinker. I won't read the whole thing. It's posted in the chat, but just a couple bits out of it. Basically, they're calling it Operation Chaos because it's chaos that they're preparing to unleash. And then the Democrats plan to use this cheat-by-mail chaos to elevate a man who can't remember his opponent's name or even his running mate to commander-in-chief. They have a three-tailed con in play. Attempt to win swing states fast and declare victory before fraudulent ballots can be scrutinized. 2, harvest loose ballots after Election Day until Trump's lead disappears. And then 3, throw the whole mess into state and federal courts until a Democrat-leaning judge gives them a Democrat lead. Real fun. And finally, obviously, if our constitutional republic is to utilize democratic elections to decide whether we choose Donald Trump, America First, quote unquote, policies, or Bernie Sanders' Green New Deal, then safeguarding the American vote is paramount over any other responsibility of our federal and state government. Instead, because the political establishment in America routinely ignores the wishes of American voters, it has turned a blind eye to the corruption and inaccuracy of American elections.
Well, all I can say about that is if we let it happen, we deserve it. That's all I can say. If we let it happen, then it's our fault because
I agree.
I mean, this is war. And the guy
that I'm
going to talk about in a minute that was killed by the police said that he was firing the first shot in the Civil War to Vice News, which is Antifa news that should be shut down immediately. And the rest of these news outlets...
not only shut down, they ought to be shot.
I mean, I'm telling you, when they rise to this level, they are, if you look, what do they always call us? They call us Nazis and fascists. If you look at what they're doing and you compare the United States of America to Italy, to Germany in the 30s, it's the exact same thing. Exact. All the way down to the point where Mercedes-Benz and Deutsche Bank and everything else was backing Hitler. It's the same way now. With all these corporations backing these communists, it is something that we don't have the Second Amendment for no reason. And it's not just to protect your house. This is getting serious. And
it is getting very serious.
Because what's being attacked the most over the past 10 years, it's been the First Amendment, the freedom of speech. And you look at places like you hear Vice. Everyone wants to shut down Vice. I'm like, no, we're not going to shut down Vice. The problem is all of these social media giants are shutting down moderates to right wing. It's not even just trying to shut down far right wing speech as hate speech. They want to shut down anything from the center to the right. They want only thing that our kids and the people to hear and see is far left, radical, leftist, communist information. You know,
you made a really good point. So let me clarify my comments because they were erroneous. They shouldn't be shut down, but somebody should be arrested for harboring a murderer.
Yep.
You know, they sat there and took that interview and never notified the authorities. The guy's a wanted man. There was an all-points bulletin out for this guy, and they harbored him. And let him get his voice out like he was a voice of the resistance or something. It's ridiculous. Go ahead, Marlene.
Okay. I agree with you. That's insanely ridiculous. And then I guess on a little happier note, this was from the Epoch Times, and I've got the link in there somewhere. Trump mentioned that if he's reelected, and he wrote a letter to the pro-life community, is what he did, asking them to support him. And I thought this was great because he says if I'm reelected, he wants to work to defund Planned Parenthood.
I heard that. That was good.
I did too. I thought that was awesome. I was like, yes. I was jumping up and down, going, "That's fantastical."
Did you get a chance to watch?
Yeah, I love it.
Did you get a chance to watch his rally?
Yes, I did.
I told you there's going to be rallies. They're on now.
Oh yeah.
Not a mask in the place.
That
Not
was
a mask
great.
in the place.
No, and I will admit I've not seen sunsets on the East Coast in Pittsburgh, but that was absolutely beautiful.
It was good.
I'm not sure where that airport was. You probably know better than I.
It's the next county.
It was beautiful.
It's the next county next to mine. It's
Arnold Palmer Airport, right?
That's right. He did say something about Arnold Palmer.
Yeah, the airport's named after him. It's also the home of Rolling Rock Beer, and now the home of Iron City Beer, since the Chicago mob destroyed our own brewery. But that's another story.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no kidding.
I'd rather
Quaker
talk
State,
about. I'd rather talk
around there too.
Who? Quaker State?
Quaker State.
I'm not sure. I'm not
One
sure.
of the oldest oil. I know Pennsylvania was one of the first areas that were pumping the black gold back.
Oh,
in
that
the
was
day.
Titusville. That's near my camp.
Oh, okay, Titusville. That's interesting.
Yep, they
I
changed
guess
the
on
world.
another happy note, I was watching his press conference today, and he mentioned Lou Holtz, who's going to get, I guess, the Medal of Freedom Award.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
I thought that was pretty good.
President of the VFW, he chimed in. He said, "These are not rallies. They are peaceful protests."
Yeah,
I saw that.
peaceful for now. You know.
Yeah, for now, right, Rock.
They start talking about mail-in ballots and things like that. We better regroup. You know, I hate to say that.
I think so.
I've held
Even
my
though
tongue
we
on
have
that.
mail-in ballots over here, however, we can drop them in a box. I can drop it about a mile or so from my house, but I still miss dearly the days when I could go and vote in person.
Well, the way we beat it,
back in Oregon.
the way we beat it is flood the polls. Go to the polls and flood it. I mean, if you can. If you can't, obviously you can't. But if there's any doubt in your mind,
I wish I could. That's what I'm saying. I really, really miss when we used to be able to do that, and I can't do it now.
You're not even allowed. The whole state has to do mail-in.
Yes, I am. Yes.
Boy, these guys are slick.
Oh, God is right. I hate it.
I mean, all right, Marlene, we're going to be here until they take us down. So
that's right.
And even if they do take us down, I'm still going to be here. I'll just be somewhere else. But thanks for calling.
You will.
Have a great weekend.
Okay.
Thanks, Marlene.
All right, let's go to Virginia and welcome Regina. Man, you're early, Virginia. What's going on? Regina.
Oh, hello, I'm here.
How you doing, girl?
What's going on?
Oh, I'm doing good. How you doing, Jack?
Oh, I could do without this heat. It's been kind of oppressive lately, you know.
Oh, boy, it's
You walk
beautiful
out
here.
to the mailbox and you're like, it's like I need to do some exercise or get back in the AC quick.
Yeah. In Richmond right now we got rain.
No.
It's like 65 in the mountains.
Oh, that's nice.
It
This
is
time
beautiful. It didn't go high. It didn't go higher than 70 today. Man, what a day!
Nice.
Anyway,
Oh,
I know something's on your mind, Regina. I know there is.
Oh, okay. This is gonna be a quick. This is gonna make your day. Did you see the violence in the White House press corps today?
I didn't see the violence. I saw President Trump making a fool out of those people.
Oh no! Earlier,
Tell us.
we had some violence.
Tell us.
Rick Grenell was in the house.
Don't mess with Rick. Don't mess with Rick.
Yeah.
Rick will take that rainbow-colored boxing glove and knock your ass out.
Oh, he did. He called them out. It was violent. It was ugly.
Oh man, is there video or something? I want to see that.
Oh yeah. Oh yes. Jack probably can look it up if he gets a chance.
Wow,
Was that part of the press conference early? With McEnany and Grinnell and all those were there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yes, and then Kelly, stuck him, and then she walked out. I was like, Lord have mercy. Violence. It was just ugly.
Oh man, it sounds pretty to me.
Oh yeah, I just had to call and share that that funness with you.
I think you have a secret channel, man. You got something that you come up with all these scoops.
I kind of sort of be hanging out in strange locations on the cell phone.
Okay, keep it up, man.
Yeah, yeah.
You have any plans for the weekend?
Nothing much.
Well, try to enjoy yourself. Try to enjoy yourself somewhere.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna try, but I'm just trying to because I'm one of those people that believe in I guess you call it omen.
Okay.
Because right now Virginia is going through some sort of unusual rainy period, and that tells me something is off.
Virginia's off. I mean, Virginia's as off as Pennsylvania is.
It looks like that the Democrat National Committee is trying to employ the method that they've used successfully in the Commonwealth of Virginia for the last three national elections, and they're trying to do it across the whole country now. Like you said, they're going to be hanging out and they're going to count the votes the night of the election, and then
how many do we need?
Say how many do we?
How many do we
yes,
need?
how many do we?
Yeah, for some reason, the 5 counties that are the richest counties in the country can't figure out how to count their votes on time. They never get them in on time. Every single time.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All right. Well, we'll
figure
it out.
But I think this time, it's going to be some sort of trap is going on because President Trump, he keeps telling nobody we'll see, and I'm like going, why he keeps repeating we'll see.
Well, let's all remember.
Because there's something more that he's not telling us. It seems like every time the Democrats try to snake their way out of something weird happens and something goes awry on their side, and they get confused and dazed.
You know why? It's called divine intervention. That's what's going on.
And the other interesting information I found out from Dan Bongino, apparently Brennan is throwing people up under the bus.
The only thing, and I have to quote Stacey one more time, the other thing she said was You know, Comey didn't honor the gentleman's agreement that the DOJ doesn't break anything 60 days before the election, and she doesn't think that AG Barr will either. But I have a feeling.
I got a feeling something's going to break because
So do
somebody is going to be panicked because right now Wiseman is panicking like hell because
I remember that and I still I shook my head at that time. I'm like, well, if you got a candidate that can possibly win the White House, and there's something criminal that you can charge this person with, I think the American people need to know.
You owe us that.
You owe that to the people, because don't you think that's vital information that our Department of Justice has that could basically, end this one.
I mean, think of everything that Biden has done. Forget about the election, although the election is very important. But think of what this guy did. He took $1 billion, whatever the amount was. He took it from the Chinese Communist Party.
Yes.
That is a disqualifying event.
You would think. I mean, you had the one release of records, right? You had the Hillary Clinton emails, the Podesta emails. The one to me that had the most information, but it was just above my pay grade to decipher, was the Panama Papers, which had financial data and how money was being laundered through that bank. And you're talking a lot of governments, folks within governments, not just in the United States, but across the globe, using this little platform. But I don't remember too much about anybody paying the price from the information that was out there.
Nobody ever pays the price, man.
Oh, but I forgot the other little snag piece that I kind of sort of found accidentally came across. Guess who else is bringing up the back end?
Who is?
and he is so happy. Rudy Giuliani.
Oh, he's back. Good. I think he should be the Attorney General.
Get this. See, the best part about Rudy's going after the criminal AGs.
Which one?
He's going after the criminal attorney generals that were the campaigns was supplied by Soros.
Okay, good.
So he's coming from the back end.
What was the other thing this week that was kind of strange? I saw you go to Antifa.com and it redirects to Biden Harris for president. I haven't tried it, but I've seen a little video clip. I'm like, are you serious?
Joe Biden said when he was answering about this deal with the president calling the veterans dumb and whatnot, he said, "My son deployed to Iraq with the Army as the Attorney General." He was. He said that. No, I don't have the tape, but he said that. I might have the tape.
He's talking about Poe, the one that he lost.
Yeah,
right?
the dead one. Yeah, he went.
He's not talking about Hunter, the one that was
the crackhead that married the dead brother's wife. No, he's not talking about that one. It's like Ilhan Omar.
Okay, yes.
All right, Regina, you have a great weekend.
Yeah, you too.
Yes, have a great weekend. Thank you.
All right, Regina from Richmond. Let's go to Sean in California. What's going on?
Here we go.
Sean.
Hey, what's up, Hutch and everybody? How you all doing?
What's happening?
Pretty good.
Oh, man, these wildfires. Wow. These people are so darn stupid.
How's that going?
And guess what? It's all happening in the northern part of California, and it's not even in my neck of the woods, but pretty soon it might be. I don't know. Either way, I'm still happy that it's burning up there. Maybe it might get Gavin for all I care. Hey, that'd make me happy. I really don't give a flying crap about these people.
Every time I see Gavin,
that there wasn't
fire. I don't think it's been a long time.
No, every year it's like boom.
I can't. Every time I see Gavin Newsom, I think, damn man, you let Kimberly Guilfoyle go. You know, I mean, you're a loser, man. You're a loser.
He is a freaking loser. I mean, and he's acting like a little dictator because of it.
I wonder why she left him. I wonder why. I wonder if it was politics or maybe he had an affinity for fellas. I don't know.
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, shoot.
I really don't.
But
care.
anyways,
Don Jr.'s like, that's cool.
Either way, the only thing I don't want to see happen, but either way it might happen, is California's northern part of it burns down and it gets Gavin Newsom. I hope it doesn't get the Railroad Museum because we got a kick-ass one. Excuse my language.
I want to see California come back into the country, man. California is too beautiful to lose.
All right, you're resource friendly. Maybe they lack in a little bit of H2O, but as far
it's
as
their own fault, though.
Oh well,
yeah, it is our own fault.
They build a couple of dams, and that's over. Or some desalinization.
The one thing that really made sense to me, that for the water problem, all we have to do is just contain it in specialized water containers, like. Oh, God, what was his name? I don't even remember his name, and he was running for the state governor as a Republican. Travis Allen, there we go. Travis Allen. He was proposing the same thing like what Israel did with their water problem. They all built a rain collection system, and then they instantly had like water of tons.
Iraq had the same thing. And I mean, the entire economy and culture was all revolved around the water. And Saddam Hussein broke the dam and took all the water out. I mean, they could do it in California just like they did there.
I think desalinization and also selling off the salt from that product, you could. That's a better possible solution than taking the human waste sewage and then getting or cleaning that up to get water from, which is another thing I heard that's
disgusting.
Some areas had tried to do.
That's straight.
Yeah, they tried and they failed. They tried
nasty.
and failed miserably.
That's like wearing a mask.
So
that's weird. That's like.
I mean, good Lord, it's all a mess up here in California. But don't worry. Sooner or later, we'll take it back. I mean, it's having a hard time because there's so many people asleep still.
I got to tell you, Sean, I've been around, and the listeners are going to be stunned when I say this, maybe, unless they've been there before now. When I came back from Korea, it was February of 1985, and I landed in Oakland, I think, wherever I landed. I was going to Oakland, to the Oakland Army base. And when I mustered out of there after 3 days, I had a ticket to get back to Pittsburgh, and I looked in the airport, and it was like 7 degrees in Pittsburgh, and it was 75 where I was. And luckily, I had a Korean soldier that I had served with that lived in San Francisco, a Korean GI, an American soldier, but he was Korean. And was in the 2nd Infantry Division with me and told me I could stay at his place for a couple weeks. And I had a pocket full of money. And I got to tell you, San Francisco was the most beautiful place I've ever seen in my life. I mean, that place was beautiful. And it was something that they're paying for now. It was like the United Nations, man. They didn't just have Chinatown. They had Chinatown, Japantown, Koreatown, Mexico Town. It was cool, and it was fun. It was fun, Got to see there was a pier down there across from Alcatraz, and ate lobster like it was a McDonald's hamburger.
Well, that was a celebration of the diversity of the United States. Was all of this? You want to eat this, you go see this culture this day, go see this culture the next day.
The problem is they all got in government. They all got in government and brought their communist asses to the government, and now San Francisco looks like freaking Korea or something. some third. Well, I guess Korea's
Yeah,
not a
it
good
sucks
example.
there now. I mean,
Oh,
it used to be so beautiful. I went down there a couple of times before it became the rat-infested crap hole it is now.
yeah, it wasn't
And
like
it
that
was
when I was
like,
there.
oh, man, that's a shame.
I
That's
got
a
on-
real shame.
I was on that cable car. I thought I was in a Rice-A-Roni commercial, man.
You thought you were in like a Clint Eastwood movie. You
Yeah.
might bust out when you're on the
Right.
ride.
Oh,
Where's Clint? Where's
Dirty
Clint?
Harry.
Oh yeah, those
Dirty
big-
Harry. Those
those-
movies were
The
awesome.
big 1970s cars bottoming out on those hills. Oh, it was awesome. Yeah.
Bullet. Bullet.
Yeah.
Steve McQueen.
There you go.
Well, anyways, I do have some other news. Real quick here. I'm still working on my driver's license. It's just taking me a little more time to get used to the building this into my instinct.
Right.
Oh man, it's really hard because as much as I like having those student magnets on my car or on my mother's car when I drive around and stuff because I don't have my own car, it's still nerve-wracking. You still have to make sure you check the lanes before you switch lanes, and it's literally gets a little crazy around here around 5 o'clock ish. As everybody's coming home and then everybody's driving, and you're trying to make sure you're being the safest person you can be while driving, but trying to make sure that you let most people around you go ahead of you so you don't cause an accident or something.
Well, let me just tell you one thing, and then I'm gonna let you go on this. Don't think that going slow is necessarily the safest thing to do. What you want to do
I don't go
is
slow.
you want to drive with traffic. Whatever the rest of the people are doing, that's what you need to do. Does that make any sense? I mean, you gotta keep it to where putting the brakes
I've been
on
pretty
can
much
get you
doing
killed.
that. Yep.
Especially if you're in front
Can
of
I
a tractor
get one
trailer.
question
Well,
in to show
Of course.
one thing? Prior to the COVID, we heard some many stories of various cities in California being overwrought by the homeless population. I haven't heard hardly anything about. I mean, it was supposedly massive, right? You're talking tens of thousands in LA and in the Bay Area, San Francisco. Is that still going on? Or do they not care about them anymore? Or is that dispersed and the people are gone? I don't know. I haven't heard.
I haven't kept up with that story ever since I heard that they were going to get hotel rooms for these people. But for all I know, they were just lying through their teeth. I want to say the other word, but I haven't heard much after that. And
I heard New York, a lot of New
conveniently
York's
disappeared.
putting them up in high dollar hotels, but I haven't heard about California doing it. But that's a possibility, huh?
All right, Sean.
I haven't seen any homeless people around either too much.
No,
I've
they're
seen
gone.
some here and there, but not much.
They're gone.
They're in Seattle and Portland, right? Earning some more paychecks.
All right, Sean.
All
You have
right,
a great,
peace out,
great
guys.
weekend.
Have a good weekend.
You too.
Thanks.
All right, now I'll tell you, man. It's that backfired on De Blasio. Those neighborhoods are emptying out. I heard Curtis Sliwa from the Guardian Angels fame. That dude's still doing that, man. He's got to be about 70. But he said that there's like moving vans all over the place where those hotels were.
Right.
Because
That's
these
the
people
hardest
go
thing to
out.
get a moving company. They're packing their crap up and they're getting the hell out of town, right?
Because when they leave the rooms, that's the only bathroom they have. So they're crapping in these people's yards. Oh, man, what an existence, man. And he did it. I mean, if you remember, I remember the stories when he first took over about, the bus stations were always a haven for these kind of people. But it had basically gone away, even during Bloomberg. But once de Blasio came in, boy, they came right back.
The one reason why, and I think I said it last year on the show, this is a census year.
Yeah.
So what's it going to hurt to have extra 50,000 homeless people that you allow to stay there through 2020?
Aren't these people evil?
In 2021, they're going to be gone. But at the meantime, does that increase in population? How many of them did they get? I'm going to give you a couple of Big Macs if you fill out this paperwork,
That's crazy.
Because
right?
you're talking congressmen. How many House seats does each state get is based off the census.
And these Democrats, they have a sole purpose in their life. You have to give them credit for that. You've got you've got people like us that have 10 different irons in the fire. We do politics, but it's not all we do. But these Democrats, it's all they do, Jack. It is every single decision they make legislatively or otherwise is about power. That's it. My mayor is out there, we have to count all the people because we got to get this money.
Right. And the seats, right?
Yeah, and it's the same
members.
way. It's the same way with military commanders.
Well, that's with the budget, right?
You were in maintenance. I was in maintenance. One of the biggest budget areas in the military, other than ammunition in a fighting war, is repair parts.
Right.
And man, if I didn't spend this many $1 million by Friday, they were sending me off to military school with that Finkelstein shit kid.
When, boy? When? Are you going to get your act together?
Gross.
Oh, good God almighty me. I think he's the Antichrist. Anthony, I want to talk to you. Now listen, don't walk away from me when I'm talking to you. You get a goddamn job before sundown, or we're shipping you off to military school with a goddamn Finkelstein shit kid. Son of a bitch.
It never gets old. It never gets old. All right, so I heard something today that really, really made me feel good. And I was a little surprised that Sundance didn't have any reaction on this, because Sundance at the Conservative Treehouse has the capability of seeing through bullshit. And after I recorded this clip, I wanted to see if he thought this was bullshit. And I don't think it was. I have been increasingly impressed. God, I hope I'm not jumping the gun here, man, because I've done it so many times. I have been increasingly impressed with California's Kevin McCarthy, who will become the Speaker of the House if we take the House. And this is about the big club, Jack. We've talked about it for years. The United States Chamber of Commerce and the establishment, Pat Toomey, John Cornyn, and even in some cases Ted Cruz, Republican Party. Did you notice that Ted Cruz was not at the Republican National Convention? I did.
It was noticeable. Who else wasn't there? Romney.
Romney wasn't there. Who else
McConnell
wasn't
was
there?
there,
George
but he
W.
was there
Bush
briefly.
wasn't there. George W. Bush, yeah. McConnell was there with a tape. That was in Kentucky or wherever the hell it was. But none of these people. Dick Cheney wasn't there. Liz Cheney wasn't there.
Good. Yeah, that's good.
I want you to listen to a clip of Lou Dobbs and Kevin McCarthy. Lou Dobbs is spot on. I should have made Lou Dobbs my winner of the week. But Lou Dobbs, I want you to listen to him especially. And at the end, you will hear Kevin McCarthy, the establishment member, when he refuses to answer Lou Dobbs' question. And Lou Dobbs should have came back at him, but he didn't. But let's listen to Congressman, House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy.
Well, hard work and all the business people do. Big business is really having a hell of a time. What do you make of the Chamber of Commerce deciding to fund Democratic, left-wing Democrats, in point of fact, along with all the rhino Republicans? Big business in this country has basically said to this president, go to hell, told the American working man and the family to go to hell. So how will the Republican Party respond to a Chamber Chamber of Commerce that think somehow they're superior to the President of the United States and the national interests, working men and women and their families are middle class.
Well, I'll tell you this, I don't want the U.S. Chamber's endorsement because they have sold out. You listen to your local chambers, those small businesses, when I used to own a business. You had Oklahoma, the city of Oklahoma, their endorsement, they wanted to endorse Stephanie Bryce, not Kendra Horn that's sitting and backing Pelosi or the Green New Deal or the others. I mean, it is just exactly what Nancy Pelosi did. It is hypocrisy that the U.S. Chamber of Commerce would endorse these Democrats that are part of this socialist agenda that is driving this country out and is fighting this president. Remember, these are the people who voted for impeachment. When this president has done so much for this nation, you know it, Lou. You show it every single day. Built us the strongest economy ever, rebuilt our military, got criminal justice reform, and he's going to do all of this again. And then you got Joe Biden out there that's hiding in Delaware, not willing to campaign to be the leader of the free world. And this president goes someplace every single day, be it North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin. And he is standing up for the safety and security of this nation.
Oh, without question. And that's why his numbers are surging. He's exactly the same man who took the oath of office almost 4 years ago and has done exactly what he said he would do. And I've got to believe that somewhere the Chamber of Commerce is building a float for China Joe Biden so that they can continue to do business on China's terms, like BlackRock moving into China to tap into a $13 trillion market, just as we are watching this country nose to nose with China in what is becoming a very dangerous situation and is without a question a Cold War. Why in hell are we putting up with the egregious, reckless unilateralism of both Wall Street, the Chamber of Commerce, and corporate America? And Silicon Valley, by the way.
I think you hit the nail on the head because this president, before he was even president, when he was Citizen Trump, he warned us about China. He's the only one that has stood up to them. Think about the supply chain that he's helping bring back to America. I mean, we don't make penicillin. We don't make vitamins anymore. China, what did they do when we needed the mask and the other? They hoarded it. What did they do? They lied to the world about this virus, and they sent their planes around the world. Thank God we had President Trump stop those airplanes, because you know who wouldn't have done that? Joe Biden. Joe Biden wanted those planes to still come in from China.
Here it comes.
Is Mitch McConnell in the pocket of the chamber and Wall Street? Because he's going an entirely different direction than the president. He's telling senators not to run with the president, despite the fact he's surging in the polls and is the reason that people like Mitch McConnell get to run through the halls of the Senate.
Look, I've watched this party be so united around this president. You just watched our convention versus the Democrat convention. It's no longer Republican versus Democrat. It's freedom versus socialism. And this president has been able to stand up against all those. He's put America first. But what we really need, this president is surging. We need him to get reelected. But we also need people behind him. We need to retire Nancy Pelosi once and for all. That's why people need to go to takethehouse.com, because he needs a Congress that will back him up.
He didn't ask you about the House, Kevin.
We've watched what Nancy Pelosi has done, calling us enemies of the state. The hypocrisy that she's going in when nobody else, she doesn't understand what small business goes through because she's never been there. The struggles that she thinks the law doesn't stand up to her. Let's retire her. Go to takethehouse.com.
Not a damn
Let's
word.
support this president.
Not a word about Mitch McConnell and his
Filibuster.
Chinese wife. Yeah, that was bullshit, It really, but, on the other hand, though, it was refreshing to see Lou Dobbs talk about the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. I think before that, Sundance and Cold War Radio were the only places that you could hear about that. And he even mentioned Cold War. Did you hear that?
Yeah, and I remember I learned it from you as well. We're talking about the National Chamber of Commerce. Most people know their local business chamber of commerce and in their local areas, if they have anything to do with any type of business. It's a totally different animal, right?
Yeah, it is. And ladies and gentlemen, I would highly suggest that you go to the Conservative Treehouse, and if you comment on any of the articles, and they are, man, you have to be ready to read on some of them. They get really drawn out. But the man does hard work. If you happen to comment, and you heard about it here, if you didn't, then this is irrelevant. But if you did hear about it here, please tell them that you heard about it here. What's up?
John in the chat room's busted out the ooga, ooga, rhino alert siren. Rhino alert.
Let's go to Kentucky and welcome Rico to the program. Hello, Rico.
Hey, what's going on?
Thanks for waiting.
Thank you.
That's no problem. Hey, I want to talk about karma.
Okay.
You know?
There's a lot of that going on.
Yeah, look what happened in, what was it, Kenosha? I think that's the name of the city in Wisconsin.
Yeah, halfway between Milwaukee and Chicago.
Yeah, I actually looked it up on the map, and I said, oh, that's pretty close to the lake.
Yeah, right next to the
But
lake.
anyways, you know, I noticed the people that got shot by this young 17-year-old were felons. And one particular was a
pedophile. Yeah.
A pedophile. And the one that got maimed, you know, he admitted that he was going to assassinate the young man.
And he ought to be down on his knees and thankful that he got shot by a .556 round and not a .45 caliber hollow point, where he would have been left
Or
with
even
a
a 40.
stump.
Yeah.
I'm a .45 guy, but you know, I'm just saying.
I'm a big 40. Yeah, more knockdown power, buddy. More knockdown power.
Yeah,
and
knocks
the
limbs
karma
straight
that
off.
the karma of the week that I thought was this man who shot this Trump supporter in Portland gets himself killed in Washington by police officers. I think it's federal police officers.
Oh,
I think that is
in
karma.
an unmarked car.
Yeah.
in bum
karma.
something Tanglewild, Washington, that's nobody's ever heard of. God bless the internet.
Yeah. And I also had a thought that, you know, this whole thing about mail-in voting also will, how would you say, perpetrate not just mail-in voting, but multiple votings. Mail-in
of course.
and in-person voting.
Did you notice that this, and of course you did because we did a segment on it, but the ACLU has brought a lawsuit that wants to allow ballots that don't pass the signature test. I mean, this is open warfare against our republic, Rico. It's right in front of us. They're not even trying to hide it. You know, this is the...
It doesn't matter how counterfeit it looks or how fraudulent it looks. We have to respect the integrity of that one possible vote.
And Nancy
How
Pelosi
dare
will
you.
stay up there and say, we have to vote for the bill so we know what's in the bill. You will not have to lose your doctor. Man.
Well, if everything goes to plan, right? If everything goes to plan, all this stuff there's going to be new laws in the book that takes care of this voting issue.
And
that
I
takes
think you're
care
right.
of all these issues.
I think that
we're going to take care of it.
First of all, I think that Donald J. Trump has proven to me, at least, that he is one brilliant son of a bitch. I mean, I'm just saying. This guy, if you listen to the intro that I've played 100 times on this show of his speech prior to him being elected about everything, he knew all of this before he even ran. He's been studying this shit since he went on Oprah in the 80s. You know, I mean, this guy knows all of this. And I wonder if he knows about how traitorous John McCain and John Kerry really are. Because I think he does. And if you don't know what these two traitors did in the Korean War, when the POWs were being repatriated, there was, and anyone who's in the military will understand this, there was a mass formation. And I don't know what the front was, but it was probably about 10 guys. That means 10 guys in the front and guys behind those 10 guys going back. and they were marching across the Freedom Bridge. And there was guys in that formation that said, we were marching, and all of a sudden, all the guys behind me were gone. They kept several hundred POWs in North Korea. And our guys knew it, and they told the people on our side. Nobody did anything about it. Never saw them again. Same thing with Vietnam. There were MIAs and POWs, especially the MIAs, that did what they were supposed to do, Air Force pilots. They were supposed to set up, there was codes. Every one of them had a code, a 3 or 4 digit alphanumeric code. And they carved these codes out, and there was pictures of them, flyover pictures. Never did anything about them. And John McCain and John Kerry held hearings in the Senate with MIA and POW families.
Yep.
And they made asses out of them. And they sealed the records forever. And I think Donald Trump knows that. I do.
Oh, he knows that. Talk about disrespecting the folks fought. I mean, you're talking about draftees in Vietnam.
Yes. And Korea.
Yeah. So this wasn't volunteer force like it is today. These people were, boom, brought in and sent over there. We can look at it on hindsight, whether it should have been done in the first place or not. But these folks,
the older I get, the more I say we should have never went to any of them, but maybe Korea was the exception. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, hey, and what we're talking about now, we've got one guy in there ready to break that chain.
Indeed, the most anti-war president we've ever had, I think.
Eisenhower warned us.
Yes, he did.
And Trump is following the warning and trying to stop what has happened in between, right?
So, Rico, any plans for the weekend, man? What's going on?
Well, I've got some photographic equipment coming in. I got a trigger and I got a light coming in. I'm going to be playing around with that.
Right.
But I would also want to just my last thought, is did you notice after the rhetoric that people were saying about Trump being cruel to our armed force individuals who have fallen and who are maimed, and how angry he got? I've never seen him that angry, and it wasn't that angry. It just that kind of thing even pissed me off.
I know.
Usually I can brush some stuff off, but that
like
is
I told
cold.
you, I don't talk other than business too much with Mona, and she texted me immediately when that came. It was like she was freaking furious, and so was I. Once I looked at it, because it was the thing that really pissed me off. It was right after a great rally, or a great peaceful protest. But anyway, Rico, you have a great weekend, my man.
You too, brother.
Right.
Talk to you later. Bye.
Thank you,
We'll
Rico.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, to the Empire City of the South, a rare appearance other than Wednesday night.
Nice.
Stacy Rush. Hello, Stacy.
Hey, Hutch, how you doing?
Doing great. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. I was just listening in to you guys. Hey, Jack. And I had a terrible thought. I texted to you through Twitter, and I just wanted to run it past you guys.
Okay.
If we end up in a place where the courts are involved in deciding this election,
we're dead.
and John Roberts
is not to cut you off. Sorry.
Uh-huh.
But
that's my thought.
I just read something about that, and it was in the American Thinker. You'll have to maybe Marlene will go through the archives. It was a few days ago, maybe a week or two ago, that talked about that. And man, that's terrifying.
I'm telling you, I'm not a huge conspiracy theory type person, but I feel like John Roberts is compromised.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
And so the other thing that concerns me, and I heard you guys talking about, Barr and the fact that Comey, didn't honor the whole 60-day thing.
I was quoting you, as a matter of fact.
Well, I tell you though, Barr has said that he was going to honor that tradition. And it concerns me that we're not hearing more grumblings from, the people who usually will give you some hints that there's a TikTok coming or what have you. I haven't really heard anything about Durham in the last few days. And that bothers me a little bit, just simply because I'm not saying that Barr will not, that he very well may honor the kind of quote unquote, agreement not to be involved in any type of, situation that might influence an election. But if we don't hear something soon, I just really thought we'd hear some grumblings from him at this point, or somebody at this point. And it's just a teeny tiny bit concerning that we haven't had at least another indictment. And I don't think that that's going to happen, over a holiday weekend.
I'll tell
I
you.
don't either.
They
got Kleinsmith, right?
What I'm thinking right now is I'm thinking that the president, he's got my full confidence at this point. It took 3 years, but it took that much time. And all you have to do, really, I might even play it. All you have to do is go back and listen to the speech he gave. That's been the intro for this show many times. And this was before we were talking about any of this stuff. And he outlined point by point how bad the Republicans were, how bad the Democrats were, how bad corporate media was. He even, without naming them, talked about the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. He talked about China. He knows about all this. Right. And I'm thinking that this guy is a leader. He's not a punk-ass John McCain. He's a leader. And I would be completely disappointed if he didn't have a doomsday plan. And I don't know what that plan is. I don't know if it's, all right, you know what, AG Barr, you're out. Or whatever it is. But these people committed traitorous felonies. And he's used that word before.
Yeah, he has. And I don't think he uses that lightly.
At all.
And Barr, I don't know if you saw the CNN interview that he did with Wolf Blitzer, but he was on fire. I feel like if anybody's going to get it done, it's going to be Barr.
I hope so.
I just really want it to happen sooner rather than later, because my biggest fear is that it's going to end, the election's going to end up in the court system, and John Roberts is going to give it to Biden. I think
that will be war.
Yeah, I think the only way that we get past that is if we truly do show up overwhelmingly. I just, as much as, they're trying with this whole mail-in ballot thing, I think if Trump wins in an electoral landslide, I'm not sure that they can find enough mail-in ballots to change it.
What I mean? That's what I was thinking. Do it statistically.
It depends on
there's this many voters
you're looking at, right?
It does. But again, if enough people go out, if there's 500,000 voters, if there's 500,000 voters and 350,000 people vote for Trump, how can you win?
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I'm hopeful for.
But you were
that's
saying
why you said that's why you saw that's why you saw this leaking of the Atlantic article out. I will go down fighting, saying that they were going to hold this in their back pocket until the last couple of weeks.
Oh yeah, that was a premature discharge.
That's what I'm wondering. Is like I felt the same exact way. I felt like that was much more of an October surprise.
Yep.
And did you guys notice how when Trump was speaking at the most recent rally, I believe it was in Pittsburgh,
Latrobe, close enough.
Okay, in Latrobe, he really seemed confident and upbeat. So
did.
that's the thing that kind of gives me a little bit of hope that maybe something is coming down the pipe, because I think that they know something's coming down the pipe and they're getting very, very desperate.
The crowd that was there at the Arnold Palmer Airport that wasn't right there in the hangar,
Oh,
it
God,
was
thousands.
massive. So,
And this is in a
so-
county right next to Pittsburgh.
right.
And they tried to tell us that Allegheny County went for Hillary Clinton by 100,000 votes. A huge lie that nobody would investigate.
Instant recharge of president's batteries. He needs to see the American people out there aren't falling for what the mainstream media and
they're
Democrats are doing.
And,
they're
you know,
not. Right.
the other thing I got to say about him, you talk about self-discipline. And I'm going to tell you what, he didn't learn that in the U.S. military. He learned that at the New York Military Academy, where he went to school. That's where he learned that. He sat up there. Did you notice? Did you watch the whole thing, Stacey, or at least toward the end?
You know what's so funny is I didn't watch towards the end, so
Yeah,
I probably missed what you're talking about.
He was sweating because it was so freaking hot out there, and he's in a suit, and he never went for a handkerchief or anything. I mean, it wasn't pouring down like little Marco Rubio, but it was, you could see it shining on him.
Humid. Yeah, and he's got his, his body armor on.
Yeah.
It reminded me of when he put Chris Wallace outside of the White House to sweat it out with him. For the
Which was awesome. And guys, I mean, Joe Biden today, it's that man. I'm so, after going through with my dad, passed away from dementia recently. It's really difficult for me to watch Joe Biden. And I don't know how any person can, really try and convince themselves that this is a well man. This is not a well man.
You know how when you get teleprompter or any script that you're getting ready to go read in front of a crowd, and how it says something, and then at the end it says end of quote.
To fund Social Security and eliminate Obamacare in the middle of a pandemic. End of quote.
I mean,
Oh my God.
that's real. That's real. And not only that, Thomas Edison did not invent the light bulb, Stacey.
Yeah, I thought I
Goddamn,
read
don't we
something
teach
today.
history in history classes? A black man invented the light bulb, not a white guy named Edison. Okay? There's so much. Did anybody know before what recently happened?
Good.
That Black Wall Street in Oklahoma was burned to the ground? Anybody know these things? We act because we don't teach them. We got to give people facts. Teach them what's out there.
Now, this is in a church in Kenosha, and because I'm an honest man, the Democratic presidential nominee is wrong about this facet of history. While historians argue whether Thomas Edison can claim sole credit for creating the incandescent light bulb, his invention took shape in 1879. He patented it in 1880, before Lewis Latimer, a black man, came up with an improvement on the design. Latimer, an accomplished scholar and inventor, designed a carbon light bulb filament in 1881, a year later, and patented in 1882. 2 years later, according to History.com, his iterative contribution to the technology greatly improved each light bulb's durability. But this is the kind of thing that they're trying to do. He's talking about history. Let's teach the real thing.
I don't know if Joe Biden would know real history if it bit him in the butt. The poor man is he's lost it, and it's
sad.
And it's
like you said.
It really is.
It's not sad. It's evil.
Mm-hmm.
It's evil that his family would put him through this, man. I mean, they're going to, like you said, they're going to kill him one way or another, figuratively or literally, who knows. But he doesn't stand a chance, man.
No, he doesn't. And you know what I noticed today with, oh God, that press conference. I was listening to it. I saw a couple of tweets and I was listening to it on the radio. I was not watching it. And I'm not kidding. I thought it was a town hall. I thought it was a town hall filled with, people who were voting Democrat. And it was reporters. I was shocked. I mean, I shouldn't be shocked. But the questions were so ridiculously easy that I truly was shocked. I mean, I'm not usually shocked by our media, but today.
Here's the thing that gets me is that these people, I don't know if you heard, because everything's all tied together. You know what I mean? This Atlantic story comes up, and then they hold a press conference. And the first person that gets the question is from the Atlantic, and he bumbles. He can't even frickin' read. They've got their audio so screwed up. It sounds like one of my first podcasts I ever did. And the echoes are coming, and this guy's stumbling over his words. And they are telling their voters, you people are too stupid to know the truth. So, I mean, that would be the part which would make me leave the Democrat Party. If the Republican Party ever came up to me and tried to tell me that 2 + 2 = 5, you know what? Screw you, man. You're out.
That's why Biden, when he was asked the question, he said, let me control myself.
Yeah, right.
With that. And then he read the rest of the script in that muted, not the attack Joe, but the meek Joe. But I did watch something, and somebody compared it, which made sense to me. The media and the journalists covering Biden are lap dogs.
Yeah.
But when they're in front of Trump, they are attack dogs.
Even Brett Baer said that tonight, Stacey and Jack. I was stunned because I always try to catch at least a little bit. And boy, I got to tell you, the initial coverage from John Roberts, I'd like to get my hand around his neck, was horrible. But when Brett Baer had his panel of leftists on there, well, we got to listen to Steve Hayes, and Jonah Goldberg sit up there and beclown the guy and say that Trump got no boost from the Republican National Convention. It meant nothing.
Please.
Didn't even challenge him. Let him say that. But to hear him on those panelists tonight, I was proud of him. Because he talked about that. He's like, you guys, come on, man. These questions.
And you know who else called a spade tonight? Neil Cavuto.
Oh,
of
really?
all people.
Really?
Yeah. I was listening to him before the 5, and he was talking to a Democrat and a Republican strategist, and he was like, come on. He's like, you guys know I'm not a Trump apologist, but that was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And the fact that they hardly ever get, and Joe is hardly ever asked any questions at all. And so when he is asked questions,
Ukraine never happened. Ukraine never happened. China never happened. It's like you people are a joke, man.
They are.
The one female that was a civilian that was going to ask him a question said, I'm sorry, but I can't go by this paper you gave me.
She was at the church out where the guy was shot. The Blake guy was shot.
Yeah, that's where they did that's where he said the thing about history. Was that it was creepy too, man. I'm telling you, if you watch the video, it's on Steel City Resistance, and I got to get you to fix one of these days. But it's on the Video 2 page. You look at it, it is creepy, man. Joe Biden's a creepy dude. He is a creepy guy. You listen to the testimony of Secret Service officers that say that this guy they used to have to they used to have to protect their female Secret Service officers that were on his detail. Because he'd go out in the pool naked as hell, man. Just.
He almost got punched out by a Secret Service agent for groping his wife or their wives' breasts when they're in a meet and greet.
It was at a Christmas party, I think.
What a sick.
A
whole sick culture. It's not just a guy. I saw a thing. I saw a thing that this guy is so deeply embedded in not the LGBTQ, the T community. The T, I guess we'll separate that out. The trans whatever community. He's like so deep into that. And I'm looking, we got this guy named Richard Levine as Pennsylvania's health director. That thinks
that dude.
Yeah, that dude.
Oh, who just happened to move his parents out of the nursing home, right?
Moved his dad out, but he thinks it's his mother or something. But anyway, moved her out of the nursing home right before the fascists started putting COVID people in there.
Which is so disgusting to me.
It is.
It's just absolutely disgusting. But, you know, I agree with you. And in the whole situation, I'd be so insulted to be a Democrat voter.
Me too, man.
When you see this hit job on President Trump with the Atlantic story, a man who absolutely adores the military, you have seen him with countless soldiers who were wounded, where he's hugging and talking to and not cringing from. And the fact that they went for this shows their desperation, but not just that. Then they had a commercial available already by, Vets for Biden or something like that. And then you have the press conference. I mean, they truly believe, and maybe Democrat voters are that stupid. I don't know. But the American people are not that stupid.
Let me tell you, and I'm going to use Jack as a backdrop because he knows what I'm talking about. You see this report that comes out about active duty troops are swinging for Biden instead of Trump. And let me tell you about active duty troops. Active duty troops are getting new tanks, new uniforms, new rifles, new pistols,
new pay raises,
new movie theaters. Do you think that is a true story? I don't think so.
No, none of it is. I've never, we've always talked about how left the media is, but until the last week or so, I've always known it, but they are just showing their true colors so much right now. It's unbelievable to me. I mean, I hope they don't think that anyone will ever take them seriously after this, because Donald Trump, he's not running against Joe Biden. He's running against the media.
You're damn
the problem for the media is that they spent 3 years trying to convince you that Trump was in bed with the Russians, which wasn't true. And people have wised up to the bull. I mean, they truly have. I think they think they're much more powerful and impactful than they are. And they're trying to prop up Dementia Joe. And I just don't see how this, not only I don't think it's going to work out for Joe Biden, but this is going to ruin media as we know it. I mean, we've always known it's bad, but I think it's going to ruin it for the rest of America.
I'm going to do my best, Joe Biden. I'm going to try to be very measured in my response to this. But to the U.S. media, just understand this, that if it ever comes down that I have to take my ass to Washington, I better not see any of you, because you are going to be the number one target on my list, because you are hurting our nation. These people are the ones causing these riots. They're causing this racial strife that we have. They're doing it. Without them, Trump has said it 10 times in the last 10 days. If we had an honest media, this country would soar.
What
Absolutely.
was it? 8 Minnesota mayors, Democrats, all endorsed President Trump this week. You think that might be something they wanted to push under the rug?
That Nancy Pelosi let them eat cake.
Yeah.
Oh my God, what a piece of work that lady is.
Antifa murdering a Trump supporter. That's another one. They wanted all that pushed to the bottom. That's why you saw this bogus story in the Atlantic. They were going to fire that bullet until.
Oh, I don't. This is the one last thing I wanted to run past you guys, and then I'll let you go so I can just listen in for the rest. I noticed more than one time during the Love Fest that they called a press conference today that a couple of reporters kept asking Joe when he was going to be tested next for COVID. When are you going to be tested again for COVID? When are you going to be tested again for COVID?
I brought that up earlier. They're working for Nancy Pelosi.
No, I think they're trying to set the stage of Joe Biden's getting tested.
That's what I said.
Oh, yeah, you're right. For Nancy, I forgot she said that he is not going to be at the debate in person at the very least. He may still debate, but he won't be there in person. He'll be doing it online.
With a
and
mask
he'll have
on.
people feeding him answers in a teleprompter
There'll
in
be
real
an
time.
emoji figure of Joe Biden debating Trump.
The best part is he can't read, though, so it'll work.
I'm telling you. I
End
was
of
like,
quote.
hey.
End of quote.
Uh-huh.
Don't say this, Joe.
Yeah. Don't repeat that lie, Joe. Oops. Sorry, I didn't mean to say that. Anyway, I found it very, very interesting that they kept repeating that. And I'm like, oh, he's going to test positive for COVID any day now.
Oh, you know, if he doesn't fall down the steps, which would be even more convenient. But so what's going on for Labor Day, Stacey, down in Atlanta?
You know, we just have some friends that are coming up from South Georgia tomorrow and going to spend the night here. And so we'll probably, do some sort of cookout. Other than that, we will be around. I am just doing some artwork and painting and stuff like that and just chilling out. How about you guys?
Well, I have my family. I'm up at my outpost here. I was saying, I don't know how long you've been listening, but I was saying at the beginning of the show that, I went. Now, when I say I went to a pizza shop, I got to drive 30 miles to get there, right? I go to my pizza shop out this way, and I peeked. I didn't know how they were going to be. So I had my mask in my pocket, and I peeked inside. This is in Pennsylvania, and our governor has just lengthened the COVID response for another 90 days, where you can only have 25%. And everybody has to wear a mask that's working there, and you have to wear a mask walking in. You can sit down, and then you can take your mask off.
Which is so stupid.
It is stupid. It's stupid. It's stupid, exactly. So I peeked my head in. I'm thinking, these people up here aren't stupid. Nobody in the damn place had a mask on, not one employee. And I was like, yeah! Give me one of them cheesesteaks.
That cracks me up. You know where else you can't find a mask in Georgia is at Cabela's.
Good.
I went to Cabela's probably like 30 days ago, and I was loving it.
What did you go to Cabela's for?
We were actually, what were we looking for? My partner he's a big gun guy, so it was either a gun issue. Oh, I know what it was. We were looking for a concealed carry holder for me, actually. Okay. That's why we were there.
Cool.
But I had my mask and I had it on when I walked in, and then I looked around and nobody had theirs on. I'm like, hell yeah, I'm taking this off.
See, I didn't want to be that guy, man. I didn't want to be the guy walking in with the mask. I wanted to be the guy, man, fuck you. I'm sorry. That's who I wanted to be. I wanted to be the revolutionary, because after I sat down, I watched these people coming in with the mask. I'm like, yeah, they're from Philadelphia or they're from Pittsburgh.
That is awesome. Well, I hope you guys and everybody listening has a great weekend. I'm just going to continue listening in, and you guys have just a wonderful night. It was great catching up with y'all.
Hey, thank you so much for calling, Stacey. Stacey Rush, ladies and gentlemen, Atlanta, Georgia.
Awesome.
Bye-bye.
All right, so now I want to get happy here. Man, I was going to kill it at 10, but maybe we'll go a couple more minutes because I got a couple more things. Not long, Jack. But
I know you're out there on the river tonight.
I know. I got a good story though. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, the 46th president of the United States, indicated that the state is nearing a decision on reopening bars, which have been shuttered for months, stating during a Thursday roundtable discussion that officials really want to get to yes, and that there should be no turning back. I want every business in Florida operating, and we pretty much have 99%. You guys are kind of the last ones, DeSantis said during a roundtable discussion in St. Petersburg alongside individuals in the bar and brewery industries. And this comes, Jack, after he said that we are never going to shut this state down again. We're never going to shut these beaches down again. That's the kind of people that we need in charge right now.
That's the leadership. I mean, you saw,
That's right.
I think it was last month when they were just boom, hammering after Governor Cuomo's failure in New York and all that. The negative stories started to rise on that. All of a sudden, boom, the focus shifted. Look,
right.
Florida said they were cool. All of a sudden, they're dealing with something. And I'm like, it's only, a month since then? And all of a sudden, they're 99% open.
Right.
And looking to open up that last 1%. So, folks, you got to pay attention. And what is it that Cuomo's brother said in that tape to Cohen? He said, the media is not your friend.
Right.
And he's in the media, right?
I know.
The media is not
your friend. Like the other day, this bombshell report from the University of Alabama that 5,000 students tested positive, and I had to retweet, so what? COVID on campus. Nearly 5,000 cases identified. Pause. None hospitalized. 0 deaths.
Oh,
it's time to play
really
football.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let's go to Missouri and get Ralph's take on everything that's going on here. What's going on, Ralph?
Hello, Ralph.
Yeah. What about that California legislature that passed a bill today, or Monday, that changes the sex offender laws?
Sick.
That where a Herbie the Pervy has vaginal or oral population with a consenting minor that happens to be 10 years of age of the offender and the child or victim, that it's okay. They don't have to register as a sex offender.
Well, what I would say to that is there's either going to be an earthquake or a bigger fire or a flood or something. You cannot go against God like that. That is just, I don't know. I don't know how to respond to that. I couldn't believe it when I heard it. And it also gets much more graphic than that and goes anal and everything else. It
with it.
It's foul.
It's not Anthony Weiner.
It's foul. It's foul.
When you have the evil people in power that they're going to protect their evil ass and suffer the children
God.
And they're trying to do it legally. You're faced with this, California. Or
you got to do
stand
something
up and end this or not.
Or are you going to let the illegal aliens from Mexico and everywhere else south of the border and every other country that has no concept of liberty, are you going to let these third world people run you into the ground? Because what's going to happen, let me tell you what's going to happen to California. At some point in time, either California or the rest of the United States is going to kick that state out of the union. And the day we do that, the next day, we're going to invade it. You better be careful what you're doing out there. You people are going against. I mean, look at our lives. All of our lives, we have bought cars. And there's two kind of cars you can buy. The kind of car that Americans drive and the kind of car that Californians drive. You know what I'm talking about, right, Ralph? You go buy a car, you either have California standards or you don't.
Yeah, California emissions, yeah.
Yeah. And yet their state's burning down. I don't know.
Meanwhile,
I don't know how to respond to that.
You've had an uptick in rescues. I think it was in Atlanta a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, where they
Atlanta,
rescued
Mexico.
over
It's
30,
every day. Every
30
day.
kids from this type of activity. You have people on trial, the Kevin Spacey, and you have the Madam. That's another person that just dropped from the radar, Ghislaine Maxwell.
Right.
Bernie, or whoever, the guy that hung himself. And then you have
Epstein.
California trying to create laws that protect these kind of activities.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Adam Schiff's buddy, Ed Buck, you know what's going on in his
How is that guy still there? I know that the whole thing, it is bound to end badly for them, Ralph. It has to.
They add insult to injury on that story. At the same time, there's a district attorney somewhere there in California that thinks that we shouldn't be too hard on looters and rioters if they have a financial need, like if they're poor homeless people and they decide to go in and pilfer a Walmart store or whatever, they might actually need that stuff.
They might need that stuff.
Yeah, I'm dead serious as a heart attack. There's another story in there. I don't remember the city that she was at, but it's probably San Francisco or Los Angeles, if I had to hazard a guess. And because she thinks that locking up people that are looting and all that, they might be poor folks and all that, and have a financial need for it because, hey, the insurance companies are picking up the tab for it, and companies won't allow any type of like armed security or whatever over a property crime.
Yep, I saw that story, man, and it's unfortunately these leftists have taken the stand. You know, I mean, this is man, President Trump's going to win on a landslide. There's too many law-abiding, peaceful Americans of all races, creeds, religions, everything to go along with this stuff, man. I mean, they're just, I think about the president when he's out there and you have these leftist reporters trying to pit COVID restrictions versus the economy. And the reality is, if we didn't have the economy that the president helped to create, how in the hell could we have built one ventilator? That shit costs money. You have to have an economy to do any of this stuff. These people think money grows on trees.
The economy was so large and blooming and still growing at the time that it took this massive hit of shut down the entire United States economy for 5-6 weeks?
Yeah.
Before it started being allowed to be open back up. And you see the markets respond, highest levels for the two lower ones, and the other ones almost back to what it was before the influx. So the job numbers that came out today, boom, unemployment was over 10 plus million. Now it's back down to 8 on the way down. So if we didn't have the economy that the Trump administration helped nurture, where would we be now?
Exactly.
Would we have been way down and looking at numbers like the 29 collapse?
If Hillary Clinton was president, there'd be 1 million people dead, and we'd never get out of this for 30 years. Ralph, what's going on Labor Day, man? What are you doing this weekend?
Nothing, sitting at home watching television, avoiding the COVID.
Damn, man. Well, thanks for calling, brother. We appreciate it. Go out and get a coffee with the fellas or something. Damn.
Hey, we fired, last but not least, we fired another ICBM from Vandenberg Air Force Base. Damn things. Like, yeah, North Korea, Kim Jong, hey, buddy, Don't forget.
He's
I had a question for you. Did he
What's
leave?
that?
He the San Diego fire on the ship. The last article that I see kind of
Bonhomme
hinted at,
Richard, yeah.
somebody started it. One of the
what?
The last article that I saw was
I know what you're talking about. They questioned a sailor on board the ship as a possible arson suspect, but the chief of naval operations and that didn't tell Stars and Bars or anybody else exactly who he or she is and what all the gory details, if any. But NCIS is all over it.
Still in the weeds. We don't know, but that could have been.
Hey, just remember, the guy down in Fort Hood is still alive.
Yeah.
I don't know about Abdu Ali that shot up the tent out there in Camp Victory. There's no justice, it seems like. Ralph, you have a great
Is that
weekend.
the one guy that threw the hand grenades into the officer's tent and all that?
Yeah, it was. And then opened up with his 16. Never heard about what happened to him either. But that was under Bush, so probably got off.
I know they caught him because what they did was everybody that was on security detail, they said, "Okay, how many hand grenades you got?"
Right. But
one of his was gone, so obviously.
Yeah. All right, man. Thanks for calling, brother.
All right, guys. Have a great holiday.
All right, no more calls, folks. Hold off on the calls. I got to finish this up. It's getting late.
It's Labor Day weekend.
I know, but I got my family in the other side. I got to get over it.
That's what I was saying. Hey, we love our Friday nights with the VFW and all those tuned in on Spreaker.
Oh, absolutely. And I am very impressed. Shout out to, who the hell has this? Verizon. Shout out to Verizon DSL from out in the mountains, man. Did good. I was worried, man. I'll tell you what I did, ladies and gentlemen. I told Mona last week, no guests for the next 2 weeks because I'm going out there and I don't want to mess anything up. And you did good, Jack.
Well, speaking of guests, I wanted to congratulate you on having Senator Marsha Blackburn on earlier this week.
You can congratulate Mona Salama.
Mona is on top of it.
On top of it, man, no doubt. And I had blood coming down my chin because I wanted to ask some questions about the Senate, and I didn't. Because this is not MSNBC or Fox News or any of them. If I have a guest on this show, it is because I want to talk to them and I want them to come back. And I did get a little bit touchy, but I knew it wasn't going to work.
She must have said something about Lindsay, something about him.
I tried. I was gonna, and
that lip biting moment, huh?
The blood was flowing. But she was a lady on the show, and so I was a gentleman.
Yes, she represents the folks in the United States and her state of Tennessee.
And she's a warrior. She is a warrior. But when you're in the Senate, there's only 100 of them. And unfortunately, the Constitution was amended, and we went away from the Founding Fathers' brilliance of the states' legislatures appointing senators as opposed to them being voted by a popular vote, which is why we have Mitch McConnell and why we had John McCain and Mitt Romney and the rest of them. And it's skewed. And it would be really
amazing,
nice.
The original intent, right? You had folks, you send them up to D.C., and it was the folks that sent them there, especially the House representative is like, hey, you're upstanding. The deacons in the church all say you need to go up there, represent us for the next 2 years. What about my business? We'll help you make sure that your business is in good shape. All you got to do is go up there for like 2 months each year to take care of a minimal blah, 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 and come back home and run your business.
But they could take them out at any time.
Right.
But now you have these popular vote things that a guy like John McCain gets elected from Arizona. Arizona wants stricter immigration reforms, but John McCain doesn't because he's in with the U.S. Chamber of Commerce and the military-industrial complex, and they censor him, and he gets all of those guys fired from Arizona Republican Committee. It's ridiculous. I mean, Pennsylvania has Pat Toomey, a U.S. Chamber of Commerce prostitute, is in there, a Wall Street hoe.
You know we're in trouble as a nation when pictures surface with John McCain standing with the leader of ISIS, al-Baghdadi,
and McMuffin in the background.
All the rest of the crews,
McMuffin in the background, and who's the other congressman that was behind him? Oh, son of a bitch! What was his name?
He's still there, I think.
Yeah, he is still there. I'll think of it. But anyway. So anyway,
I don't want to say
let's close this out. Let's close this out. We have we're talking about the COVID thing. If you think this COVID is not political, you're wrong. Man, that's not where I was going.
I'm trying to think of that congressman.
I'm trying to remember where I was. Here, Lighthizer? No.
No.
Oh, here it is. Here it is. Yeah, Kinzinger.
Kinzinger. There you go.
Killer Cuomo's New York. Now, in case you didn't know, the FBI, I think they're trying to get their reputation back. So they have gone to Pennsylvania with Richard Levine and Governor Tom Wolf, and they've gone to New York with Governor Cuomo, and they have requested, I don't know how that works. The FBI usually doesn't request shit, but Killer Cuomo's New York says it will not respond to a request on COVID-19 nursing home deaths until after the November election.
Say what?
That's all you need to know about this goddarn COVID bullshit. It's all been about the election. They have murdered 180,000 people, Americans, in their own states when it comes to New York and Pennsylvania for politics, Jack.
New Jersey's involved in that too. Those are the three top states.
But New Jersey doesn't have anybody living in it. New Jersey's not even worth talking about. Right. New York and Pennsylvania.
That kind of ties in to the whole, when we were discussing is Durham stuff coming through. We're discussing Comey in the last 6 months of an election. That's what I think's going on. You're not going to see anything coming out of the FBI. I don't care who the Attorney General is.
I agree.
Is one person, and the swamp is still deeply embedded. Who's running the FBI? Director Wray. Right, buddy.
It's time to move the whole Department of Justice to Florida or Georgia, somewhere. Move it the hell out of Washington. We have to destroy Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. should not exist. It shouldn't. You look at the mayor is against the country. And then you go back to New York.
The original capital of the United States was Philly.
Right. Well, we don't want it to go there for damn
Send it back to Philly now.
No, send it down south somewhere. Get it the hell out of here. This is going to be enemy territory very soon. Cuomo, Governor Cuomo, New York City has floated. Now, remember the murder statistics in New York City for the last year. I think this month was 100 or 150% more shootings and more murders in New York City than this month last year. What does Cuomo want to do? In New York City, he wants to float 4,000 more police to enforce restaurant opening guidelines.
They want to defund the police, but they want more Gestapo
Yeah.
to make sure that the restaurants aren't making money. It's so brazen because, anyone arrested goes in and gets kicked out, no bail, they're back on the street. That it got so bad that there's video of somebody attempting to rape somebody in the subway tunnels right there
in daylight
in front of everyone
at 11 o'clock in the morning. This dude's at 11 o'clock in the morning.
Like what? What? I'm trying to get my groove on, man.
Right.
It's like, well, you're messing me up.
She wanted it anyway, right?
It's that crazy.
It's unbelievable, man.
Crazy.
It's unbelievable. Another unbelievable event. No, this is not unbelievable. Utah GOP. They ought to abolish the Utah GOP. Between Mumbai Mike Lee, Glenn Beck's best friend, and India's best friend, and Mitt Romney. Remember during Mitt Romney's failed, how can I put this? Mitt Romney's fake run to get Barack Obama elected. Remember that when Mitt Romney got Barack Obama elected on purpose?
Candy Crowley.
Yeah, Candy
right out
Crowley,
there.
who you've never seen again, by the way. In case you missed it.
She got her paycheck. She's gone.
She's gone. But remember how they used to portray, didn't Mitt Romney's wife have MS and all this other shit? She was sick. I remember that. They threw the sympathy card out there. Well, Ann Romney will team up with Big Mike, man.
What?
Ann Romney is going to team up with Big Mike, man, Michelle Obama, and Hollywood liberals in a comedy special to get out the vote. Let me just let that set in, man. Let me just let that set in.
A comedy tour.
Because she's so funny. All right, final news story. Because this is Cold War Radio, and I will never. We spoke about politics for 2.5 hours. All right. I want to bring you an update from India. India sent a 4-star army general to its northern Ladakh territory yesterday to oversee troops' operational readiness amid an escalating border dispute with China. On Tuesday, Tibetan officials, that's Tibet for you guys, said an ethnic Tibetan commander in the Indian Army was killed on Saturday in a border confrontation in Ladakh. A Tibetan soldier of the same battalion was also injured in the conflict near Pangong Tso, which is a lake, located on India's western Himalayan border with China. The two Asian neighbors. Now, here, I just want to point this out to you millennial idiots. Yeah, about the Asian thing, right? So now Indians are Asian as well as Chinese. But look, man, we have to say Chinese, Korean, Indian. This Asian shit has got to go. It is too wide of a characterization. Occidental, Oriental, Negroid. Those are the three. Occidental, Oriental, Negroid. That's what the world is made up of.
It seems like these two countries, they are trying their best to restrict themselves from going full blown war.
They are
because
trying.
wasn't it about a month ago that
let me finish.
Was casualties beating the crap out
Pangong Tso Lake, located on India's western Himalayan border with China. The two Asian neighbors have been engaging in an ongoing standoff since a skirmish in Ladakh's Galwan Valley on June 15th, 2 months ago, that killed 20 Indian soldiers and an estimated 40 Chinese troops.
Hand to hand.
Yeah, hand to hand. Oh, yeah. They use like Roman shit, man. They had like the
It
mace,
was like fucking maces and clubs. And
like
that's
the mace,
how
not chemical mace with a stick that had a chain
Morning
attached to
Stars,
it with a
whatever.
ball with spikes. Yeah,
we're gonna go medieval up on your ass. Boom. But that's how hard both sides are trying not to get into war.
Oh no, they
resorted
don't want
to-
it. No, because China will lose that, man. I mean, don't mess with
It's-
India,
yeah.
man. India's our ally too. They are. All right, so Jack, I appreciate you staying on for the extra time. You do it every week. I don't know I don't know what it is about Fridays, but I can't
Friday,
shut it
it's
down,
free-
man.
Free flow Fridays, and I'm always here as long as you need me
I
on
know,
Fridays
man.
because
I know, brother.
these
Thank you.
listeners are here, and as long as they're here, I'm going to be here to help.
All right, and I appreciate you all guys being there. I do. Thank you very much. It gets long sometimes, but
And we had
man, Stacy called
drop
up.
in.
Right.
That was sweet.
Oh man, winners and losers, my man.
Winners, I have to go with the president's press secretary, Kayleigh McEnany.
What a
who
woman.
Came out, I believe it was yesterday's, and had Pelosi's appearance video looped on both monitors behind her. And she said, I'm just going to leave this here for the whole thing. And then basically went after Pelosi and attacked her on fact the whole time. And
Was that
I just-
classic or what, man? That was classic.
I was like, hey, I think she knocked the press back. She didn't get too much flack from it. They were like, oh, whoa.
They don't really know how to do construction in San Francisco. Did you see how she had to step over the transom?
Step down
There was like a 2x4 coming. Like it wasn't an easy move in between one room to the other. There was like a board there. It's like, what was that? But anyway,
San Francisco earthquake.
Continue.
Maybe that's like the little buffer area for earthquake.
I guess.
Loser, the Cuomo brothers, both Governor Andrew and TV star Chris. Obviously, I mean the governor decided that he was going to sit there and play Joe Pesci in Goodfellas and mafia talk and say that President Trump needs an army to get to New York City, and we're like, he's got the whole armed forces if he needs them. Commander in chief, and his brother, for the Tucker exposed that, leaked that little audio clip between, which kind of is interesting. Chris Cuomo talking to the jailbird, former Cohen, so this is the last, Michael Cohen, who was Trump's lawyer that, they raided his thing, but he's talking with him and he's talking about.
Sounded like a BFF too, man.
Yeah. It's like, they're like, wait, but at the end, after all of this, Me Too movement shit, he says, the media is not our friend. That's the CNN anchor telling you that, folks. Much?
I
Are
hit
you
this
there?
thing 3 times. It didn't get 4.
And Tommy and me, and there was Anthony Stabile,
How you doing?
Frankie Carbone, and then there was Mo Black's brother, Fat Andy, and his guys, Frankie the Wop, Freddie No Nose, and then there was Pete the Killer, who was Sally Balls' brother, and you had Nicky Eyes,
What's up, guy?
and Mikey Francesi,
That guy, yeah, I want to see him.
and Jimmy Two Times, who got that nickname because he said everything twice, like
Deplorables.
They're
gonna be at a slide by the time you get this thing going. Come on, lift it up. There you go.
All right, so there's that, ladies and gentlemen. Deplorable. So my winner this week is the hairstylist in San Francisco, man. They went up to Nancy Pelosi's house, and they held a hairdryer protest outside her home, hanging curlers from the tree. I mean, Nancy, it's great that you're so stupid that you made your party do a premature discharge of the October surprise. But you're still the winner of the week. Not you, Pelosi, but the hairstylist in San Francisco. And I concur with you, Jack. My loser of the week, Andrew Cuomo. I can't believe that he told the United States media that the president of the that New York City was so broke down and so destructive to our republic that the president of the United States could not walk down the streets of the city that you govern from the state level, and communist de Blasio governs from the city level. And the only sad part about all of this, Jack, is that in the final analysis, the Democrats have destroyed the big American city. There's
after
no hope.
Such a huge
no hope.
comeback. You
Yep.
know, after it went from such a very desperate area. I remember was it the 80s Jamaican
Before
murder gang.
before that, it was even worse in the 70s with a guy named Dinkins.
Maybe
Dinkins was the mayor when Cloward and Piven executed their pre-roll. And if you've listened to people about Cloward and Piven, the whole idea is to overwhelm the welfare state to where the government collapses. But the leftists have a shadow government standing by. That would be AOC, Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, people like that. And they did a pre-roll of it, and the first mayor was Lindsay, and then it was Dinkins, and New York went bankrupt. And then you fast forward to now. You had Giuliani that brought law and order back, and then you have Bloomberg that was so freaking stupid. I can't believe that guy ever got elected. But he did keep some of the policies in place. But then once Anthony Weiner got caught being Carlos Danger, de Blasio won by default. Nobody wanted de Blasio.
Right. They was supposed to be Wieners.
Right. Nobody remembers that, And now you look at what the guy's done, and it's totally unbelievable. Anyway, a great show, Jack. I appreciate you week after week, man, staying a little bit longer. I appreciate it.
I thank you for letting me be part.
You're a
have
great co-host, man.
Wonderful Labor Day weekend, and send that out fivefold to everyone that's tuned in, and the VFW and the Spreaker chat room. Enjoy the weekend. We've got a lot of work to do. It's like just a little bit over 8 weeks, and it's election day. So let's stay on point and make sure that we keep America great.
Absolutely. No question. Thank you. You've done a wonderful job ever since your first appearance on the show. I want to thank you for that. I want to thank everybody for listening. Please share the show. I no longer share the show on Twitter, except for automatically. I mean, I never make any posts. I'm about done with Twitter and Facebook. But anyway, I want to thank everybody for listening. I hope you enjoyed the show. Thank you to all the callers. Thank you to Stacy for taking out a little bit of time. I know you got a lot going on. Check out Facebook.com/Cold War Radio 22. The email is scrtv@live.com. You can catch the podcast, Spreaker, look under news/news commentary. iHeartRadio is our supporter and actually our sponsor when it comes to the amount of time we can podcast. There's a Cold War Radio app free in your app store, folks. Android or iPhone. And if you need help hearing, catch the show on YouTube because there's captions. Give us a 5-star rating, all that kind of stuff, if you think we deserve it. We'll be back on Monday. Ladies and gentlemen, you have a great Labor Day weekend. Go to rspn.bandcamp.com and support Jacob Seals. What a hell of a musician. Thanks, everybody. God bless.